Hi, hello, my name is Gabby, and today we are doing another short positive review. Basically what happened is that I am doing a very big project that is going to be the next video, but in the meantime I wanted to just continue in my drawing some illustration mood that I was in because of Mermaid. And also because I sketched these before Mermaid, I also wanted to play with it. But I'm going to talk about all of this during the video, and I'm going to go into the process. And today we are reviewing Mindy Mcginnis's duology, The Initial Insult and The Last Laugh, which I liked a lot. Like usual, we're going to start with a non-spoiler review of the first book, and then I'm going to go in a bit of a spoilers, and then my overall appreciation of the second book, since I'm reviewing both at once. Enjoy! So, before we start, let's talk about Corey Brickley again. It's the third video in a row that I mentioned them, and I am having a blast. Basically what happens is that I am a fiend of books, and I'm a fiend of pretty books. The way I look for books to read is very funny. I'm very motivated by pretty book covers, which my friends laugh about a lot, but I genuinely think it's a good way to find books that interest me, because I'm really good at if a book attracts my eyes, then I can check if anything else could be good in it, you know? And Corey Brickley is the illustrator that did both The Initial Insult and The Last Laugh, and a bunch of other Mindy Mcginnis books, and I really love their style. I've talked about them before, and basically the way I found them as an artist was through their book covers, and I really love them, so I wanted to talk about it a bit. I am trying to emulate just a little bit their style, not a lot. These illustrations were a lot bigger than I thought they would be, but I had such a blast doing them that I wanted to talk about this a little bit. So for the first illustration, which I'll mention again at the end of this section, I decided to go with the scene where one of the characters is knocked out and starting to get encased in a wall, which is really fun. And the main colors for both covers are a teal-ish and a reddish pink, which are my favorite colors, but I decided to do the first one with more of a purple and blue, so same vibes but a different shade. And then the second illustration, which you'll see later on, is going to be more green and red. So let's start with The Initial Insult. I know nothing of Edgar Allan Poe. I have read The Telltale Heart and another one that involves a crow, and apparently that doesn't mean a lot because there's a lot of them with crows and ravens. So I never heard of The Cask of Amontillado, but this is what this is based upon. Basically, if you like The Cask of Amontillado, just go read the book. It's a YA horror thriller in the first person of a two-character perspective that is basically The Cask of Amontillado, but interesting. So the story revolves around two characters. So the main character we are introduced to is Tress Montour. Tress. She is really poor. You also have to understand that in this book series, and I've read another book by Mindy Mcginnis, which is A Long Stretch of Bad Days, which was also pretty good. I'm not gonna do a short positive review on it, I don't think, but I like it. Mindy Mcginnis focuses a lot on small towns, which is what this is all about. So, in this very small town that not a lot is going on, everybody knows everyone and everybody's name has a meaning. And Tress is supposed to be part of old money. Montours are some of the founding members of the city, so she, in everything that she believes in, should be rich. Except that her parents mysteriously died when she was young and nobody wanted to take her in. So instead, she lives with her grandfather, which is drunk, high, and owns what one of the main popular girl from the school calls the quote-unquote white trash zoo, which houses 3 animals, including a panther, a chimpanzee, and I think an alligator. She lost everything, and in the beginning of the book we start with her finding her dog dead. Our other main character is called Felicity Tornado, again, it's Tornado for the rest of this video, I hope that's right. Felicity Tornado, and she is new money. So her parents were not rich, they're not part of the system, but they have made a lot of money, so she is still rich. But she's hiding a secret. Felicity has epilepsy and frequent seizures, which her mom has told her that if anybody knows that she has those seizures, she's never gonna find a husband, so she needs to keep it a secret. It's also a huge quote-unquote embarrassment for them that one of their child, their next member of their family, has seizures. They were seeing as a bad thing, so whenever she gets a seizure, she goes away and she has them on her own or with one of her friend called You, but that everybody called huge, which stumbled upon her having a seizure when she was younger and decided to take it upon himself to help her. So Tress and Felicity used to be best friends, and at the beginning of the story, the only thing that they now are is buyer and seller of drugs. This story is told like alternating perfectly between these two POVs, going in the past. So what usually happens is they have a discussion in the present. There is a Halloween party in which Tress comes in just to sell drugs, or that's what she said, but she actually rigged the basement of the whole house to be the coffin of Felicity. And throughout the book, she gets Felicity down there, she chains her to the wall, and she starts in-walling her. And throughout the book, we learn that she's in-walling her because she believes that Felicity is the one that knows what happened to her own parents. And so because she was the only one who was there when her parents disappeared, and Felicity remembers nothing. So this book goes from them in the present, where Tress gets mad and starts in-walling Felicity with bricks like accumulating up, as they then talk about the past and reminisce on what happened when they were kids. Why did they do what they did? What was their POV? Some stories include the one time that because Tress was really poor, she went to Felicity's house and took some hygienic products, and then one of Felicity's friends like snitched on her to Felicity's mom, who, because Tress is poor now, sees her as a bad influence. And other parts in school where Tress tried to be like the president of the class, for example, but Felicity like did it, but Felicity did not want to be president, but because her friend asked to be, like, she had to vote for her friend who just wanted it for the popularity, as where Tress actually had a reason to do it. And throughout the book, we also learned that Tress is not perfect either. She's deeply fucked up. She sells drugs to people. She like committed crimes. She's trying to make everybody's life miserable because she feels like shit, and she's bricking her old best friend, in which she doesn't know what happened to her, and she's trying to get to the bottom of it. And when Felicity gets walled, she's also drunk and high and losing a lot of blood. Also, during that party where there's in-walling, the panther from Tress's zoo escaped, and this is a looming threat throughout the whole party, where she doesn't know where the panther is, and she's like, I don't give a shit, I don't want to deal with this right now. And the panther is also a third person view. It's a third vision that helps contextualize some stuff, and I really like it. I really recommend it. So that's where the story is. This is the most non-spoiler spoiler I can give you. This is where you don't know much of what is going on, you don't know any of the plot twists, but this is where I would encourage you to go read it, because it is really good. It's a really fun YA. It's super simple to read. It's a pretty fast read too. I was enthralled. I really liked it, and I don't know, it was like a really fun read. I really recommend it. As for the first piece that probably just ended, it was so fun to do. I love the bricks that I did. It was so long but so satisfying to do. I love the lighting. It's not the right colors in the book. It's a purple and pink bodysuit, but to match with the color scheme, I put everything more blue. So like where I would have put pink is green, where I would have put purple is blue, but that's okay. I'm just doing me, and I had a blast. I loved it. For the second piece, this represents the second book in the story, which is The Last Laugh. So this is your spoiler warning for everything that happens in the first book, and now we are on to the second. Also, during the first book, the way the first book ends, because we're talking about the second book now, the way the first book ends is that Felicity is convinced that there is nothing that can be done. She doesn't remember anything at all, and something that's super interesting about that is that it's explored as something that she like feels ashamed about. She's like, I should remember something, but she does not, which I really like. But then at the very last second, she does remember, and she calls out to Tress, but she passes out because she's walled and drunk, and Tress cannot help her because she's not able to reach to help her to set her free, and so Felicity dies. The second book picks up where now we still have two persons, but this time it is Tress and her cousin Ribbit, which actually, we learn really quickly, is actually part of the reason why Tress's parents died. So basically what happened at the end of the last book, apart from Felicity dying, was that Tress got slashed by the panther, and she taped it shut. So the second book goes from Tress trying to cover the murder, not get found, get the panther back, and still trying to figure out what the fuck happened to her parents, because Felicity had some information but not enough, but enough to tell her that Ribbit was part of it, I think. Or she tried to, but she passed out before. And Ribbit is trying to silence Tress and or kill her before her 18th birthday. So in this one we know exactly who the villain is, and Tress is completely unaware. So the second book is no longer in the same room. So the first one almost entirely happens the same room with flashbacks. This one, she's out and about, she's trying to figure out what happens, and it's really good. The second one is almost better than the first one. I really like it. I think the second one explores a lot more of the trauma that happens, and I really like it. If you read it, this is your final spoiler of what exactly happens at the end of the second book and why I like it a lot. It's really easy. Tress's parents were killed by her cousin's parents because of a family dispute. When Tress's grandparents died, they gave the plot of land that quote unquote should have gone to the eldest daughter to the second daughter, which is Tress's parents, and so murder. But because Tress is still alive, Tress was supposed to die that night too, so that everybody died, so that the sister, like the mother of Ribbit, would have gotten the entire plot of land. But in the car that night, instead of being Tress, it was Felicity, because she had an epilepsy attack. But because she has an epilepsy attack, she doesn't remember anything, but Ribbit did pick her up. And this is the big plot twist. This is fairly obvious. This makes a lot of sense with the world that is built in. It's just a family dispute, and Tress's parents died because of capitalism, basically wanting to be richer. And because when Tress is 18, she's going to be the one who gets a plot of land, it is the final few weeks to kill her. So that's why Ribbit is doing this. And the other plot twist is that Felicity did not die. Felicity actually just got an epilepsy attack. And so when Tress leaves her, dead, she actually leaves her unconscious, but she doesn't know that. So when she comes back 3 days later, the house that they were partying in, that she encased her in, was demolished, and there was only the basement left. So she was able to break down the wall and grab her and save her. And then together, when the police shows up, Felicity lies for Tress, saying that Ribbit was the one walling her because she knew too much, which knocked all the birds with all the stones, because the second book focuses a lot on how Tress feels about it. It's I think it explores so well the fact that she was ready to do this really well, and she knew the implications, but knowing the implications of basically killing someone and then actually doing it and living the consequences are not quite the same. And I think that it did it so well. The second book is a doozy to read, but I really liked it. And the one part that I really love about the ending is that after all they went through, Tress and Felicity are still not friends. They thank each other for helping each other, they apologize to each other for what they've done, and they move on. It's not doing the thing where they went through something emotional together and they beasted the evil and they're going together. These are two ex-friends who got really broken, who went on different paths and finally got closure on a relationship, but decide to both walk away from it. And that was my favorite part of the last laugh. As for the second piece of drawing that I did, this is in the second book, there's a moment where the land of Tress's grandfather blows up and Tress walks out of it alive. But that's what I decided to represent, is just her walking out with the giant flames behind her that are representative of basically the cover of the last laugh. I had a lot of fun. Fire is not easy to draw, but I think the colors were really fun. I think the lighting was so hard to do, but I ended up having a blast, and I am really happy with the result. So here's the montage. Thanks a lot for coming around. It was a really fun this book series. I'm gonna try to do more short positive reviews, but I'm doing so much right now. But I'm having a lot of fun. If you want to see anything that I do, please look all around the screen. I'm also gonna ask you to subscribe. I know it's cringe. I'm cringing saying it, but like, I don't know, funny number goes up, and also it helps me like get picked up by the algorithm or something. Yeah. I thank you for coming around, and I'll see you soon.